on the field. The pride of the Southland band crisply marches into the Giant T. The rear, the roar of 97,000 fans rises with each rhythmic step. In the background, George Beaches is singing Fight, Balls, Fight. The orange and white Shakers flood the air. The Volunteers are ready at the north end of the football field to burst through the gate. They're coming now, racing onto the field through the Giant T. In that magic moment that says, wherever you are, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. We are 2 weeks away from kicking things off inside of Neyland Stadium against Ball State. And the number one question that's getting thrown around all over Vol Twitter, all over the message boards, what is going on with Bru McCoy? Why is he not eligible? He's still going through practice. He took part in the scrimmages. You know, he's a guy that showed up into camp after an off-season procedure. A lot of the talk was that he's not really in football shape, but how quickly that started to change. Bru McCoy is looking the part. Bru McCoy looks great in practice. He's getting praise from not only the media, but also this coaching staff. He's a guy that we need on the football field, not necessarily in 2 weeks, but when you go on the road to play Pitt in week 2, I would like to have Bru McCoy out there on the outside opposite of Cedric Tillman. So what is going on with his eligibility? Josh Heupel gave a brief little update earlier in the week. We're going to get into the speculation, the rumors, what is going on. We'll talk about it coming up here in just a second. As always, do me a favor. Go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. It helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you are new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We are fans just like you. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Article from on3.com. Josh Heupel gives latest on Bru McCoy's eligibility status, how he and other wide receivers performed on Sunday. Now, Sunday was scrimmage number 2 of fall camp. So let's take a look at it here. Again, Tennessee added the commitment of former USC wide receiver Bru McCoy out of the transfer portal this summer. McCoy has impressed Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel early on in fall camp, although questions still remain about his eligibility. McCoy has been on the practice field for Tennessee, played in the Volunteer scrimmage on Sunday. After the scrimmage, Heupel addressed the media, and he was asked about McCoy's status, and here's the update. Well, the update is Josh Heupel says, I don't have an update on Bru McCoy. So now what is going on? Why is Bru McCoy not eligible? In the day and age of the transfer portal, we see guys transferring all across the country. If you go back to the Bru McCoy story, he committed to USC, then he ended up at Texas, then he transfers back to USC, now trying to transfer to Tennessee. So what has to happen? What is the holdup? Well, a couple of things have to happen. First and foremost, USC has to grant his release in order for him to become eligible at Tennessee. So there were rumors, speculation about academic issues, the off-the-field issues that went down at USC, the alleged things that happened. You know, the bottom line is at USC, the charges were dropped against Bru McCoy. And that's what's so infuriating about this whole ordeal, because the charges were dropped, no charges were filed against Bru McCoy. However, UNC still refused to reinstate him to their football program. So now Lincoln Riley, the administration, whoever's to blame out there at USC, is not releasing Bru McCoy. Now, some people are trying to start a little bit of momentum on Vol Twitter, hashtag free Bru. It seems so reminiscent of Cade Mays. We saw the same thing with Cade Mays. It was such an ordeal to get the release from Georgia. Now, something a lot of people are talking about as well, Justin Powell, college basketball player, transferred in from Auburn, and then now he's going from Tennessee to Washington State, already eligible. Why? Because Tennessee filed the proper paperwork. Tennessee gave Justin Powell his release. We have a track record of allowing guys to go elsewhere. But somehow, when the shoe's on the other foot, when guys like Cade Mays are trying to come in, when guys like Bru McCoy are trying to come in, these other schools, these other administrations are dragging their feet and not releasing the paperwork. They are not going to free Bru McCoy. So do we take to Vol Twitter? Do we take to Vol Twitter and start tagging in Lincoln Riley? Do we start tagging in the USC Trojans football account? Because how does this impact recruiting? Imagine yourself, 17, 18-year-old kid looking to go to college. You realize the transfer portal is a thing. Do you want to go play for Lincoln Riley? And if things don't work out, you know that he's not going to grant you the option to go somewhere else. If he can control it, now we know the transfer portal, you get that one-time free transfer. We know how that works. But what if there are circumstances that you end up needing to transfer twice? Can you count on Lincoln Riley to support you in that? Is Lincoln Riley supporting these athletes? Or is he all about himself? Because another point that a lot of people like to bring up is the fact that Lincoln Riley had no problem when he was at Oklahoma accepting Eric Gray, accepting Wanya Morris. He had no problem accepting these players from Tennessee that entered the portal. But yet now the shoe's on the other foot. Now the shoe's on the other foot. Why is USC holding Bru McCoy hostage? A guy that they would not allow back onto their football team. The guy that they would not reinstate even though the charges were dropped. I don't know what happened off the field. I wasn't there. You weren't there. But the bottom line is when charges are not filed, how can you hold Bru McCoy responsible? Another name mentioned, Lynn J. Dixon, right? Transferred from Clemson. Transferred up to West Virginia. Went through spring camp. Things didn't work out. I don't know if he wasn't happy with where he was at on the depth chart. Decides to transfer from West Virginia to Tennessee, already eligible. He transferred after Bru McCoy. Way after. Way after Bru McCoy. So what's the timeline here? A lot of dates have been thrown out. You know, I think Brent Hubbs said a couple of weeks ago, if we get out 2 weeks from now, you know, once you get maybe 2 weeks away from the season, maybe there starts to be a cause for concern. A date that I continue to see thrown around is August the 20th. If Bru McCoy is not cleared by August the 20th, we're going to have some issues. We're going to have some trouble. Austin Price just recently said on VAWLS that this thing is becoming more of a deal, in his opinion. Pointed out the fact that USC is dragging their feet and now Tennessee is trying to fight back. Brings up the same point that I just mentioned, that Bru McCoy was not going to be allowed to stay at the University of Southern California and play college football. So why is Lincoln Riley? Why is their administration? Why are they holding him hostage if they weren't going to allow him to come back and play football? Again, we don't need him for Ball State. That's not a problem. But you would like to have your opposite threat, the guy that's going to be lined up opposite of Cedric Tillman on the outside. You would like to have him eligible when you go on the road to play Pitt. I don't usually encourage this. Go to Twitter. Free Bru. Hashtag Free Bru. Tag Lincoln Riley. Ask him what his problem is. Why is he holding Bru McCoy hostage? Some people on Vol Twitter saying we should go as far as to start tagging USC recruits. Ask what they want. If they need to transfer, is Lincoln Riley going to free them? Or are they going to be held hostage? I don't know if we should go that far. But I think Lincoln Riley, I think this administration at USC needs to be held responsible for this. Because there's more to it. Once USC releases Bru McCoy, then the NCAA has to approve a waiver. How long is that going to take? 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 years? We know how the NCAA operates. Let me know your thoughts on Lincoln Riley holding Bru McCoy hostage. So what happens if Bru McCoy's not eligible? Where does Tennessee look? Heupel goes on to talk about some of the other wide receivers. Talks about some real positive things. Said Bru McCoy did some really good things out there inside of the stadium. I thought he handled and operated really well, was physical with the ball in his hands. So what if Bru's not available? He goes on to say Jimmy Holiday made some plays today, some competitive catches, and then run after the catch. Walker Merrill is a guy that's had a really good training camp, much better football player and understanding of what we're doing from where we ended spring ball. I think he's made strides, and he's done that offensively. He's done that on special teams side of it too. He says, so there's still a ton of competition. We've had a couple of guys that have missed a day or two here or there through training camp. This next block will be important to see those guys function and operate and handle the totality of what we're doing offensively and ultimately prove that they deserve to be on the football field and play. Jimmy Callaway and Squirrel White in particular, those two guys. So I think we have some options. Again, we're going to be fine against Ball State. That's not going to be the issue. Tennessee is just going to be fine. I'm excited about Walker Merrill. He's a guy that I think he's going to be your next guy up. You've got Cedric Tillman, Jalen Hyatt, and Bru McCoy. Those are your top three guys. I think Walker Merrill's that guy that's out there as the fourth guy. Now, how he fits into the rotation, you know, it sounds like they're moving him from the slot to the outside, but he's a guy that can play anywhere. So it's good to see that he is coming along as well. But you guys know what to do. Hit the comment section. Give me your feedback on the fact that Lincoln Riley, USC, holding Bru McCoy hostage. Where do we go from here? Let me know your thoughts. As always, smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' VAWLS Network at bonfire.com. facebook.com/store/talkinballs. Any and all support greatly appreciated. Thank you to all the new members of the channel. You guys continue to flood in and support what we are trying to do here. It's as little as 99 cents a month. You can support what we're doing. Hit that join button down below. There's also a link in the description. If not, just come hang out, talk a little ball football, and smash that thumbs up. We would appreciate it. But that's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin' Balls Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.